In a large conference room in a Chicago skyscraper, the long polished oak table resembles a battlefield. On one side sits Anna Taylor's family, her mother, father and younger brother Lucas, all dressed in expensive suits that exude the aura of upper-class power. On the other side of the table Anna sits alone in a casual navy blazer, a bargain basement choice that clearly reflects the difference between her and them. "Zine, Anna, this is for everyone's best interests," her father Richard Taylor says coolly, pushing a thick file toward her. "It's a transfer of ownership for Taylor Innovations, the region's largest technology company, worth more than $100 million. Anna's grandfather, the company's founder, died 3 months ago, leaving her 51% of the company, much to the shock of her family. Anna is a 29-year-old software engineer who has been working on her own since college. "I have an engineering degree and have been working in R&D since I graduated," she said, keeping her voice even. "I know our products better than anyone." Her mother, Elizabeth, shook her head with a sarcastic laugh, running her hand through her carefully curled hair. "Anna, you don't understand. Working part-time and taking online courses is nothing compared to Lucas's MBA from Stanford." Lucas, only 25, sat there with a smirk. "You can keep your place on the research team. Someone still needs to do the manual labor," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. Each of their words was a stab in the arm, bringing back painful memories for Anna, the days she waited tables while Lucas was sent to a prestigious private academy, the lavish vacations she was denied because she was busy working to pay for her tuition. Her family didn't give her a penny while Lucas was fully funded. But her grandfather, Edward Taylor, saw something the family didn't. In his final months, he spent much time talking to Anna, sharing his vision for the company's future. "You have the heart of an innovator, Anna," he once said. "Lucas sees only money, you see an opportunity." Now the family wanted her to give it all up. Her inheritance, her grandfather's legacy and, more importantly, his trust in her. "If you sign, we'll pay you a handsome settlement," Richard added. "Enough to start over elsewhere. It's a very fair deal." Anna clutched the key pendant her grandfather had given her, trying to gather her courage. "What about the new CEO interview? Doesn't the board need to approve it?" she asked. Elizabeth cut in immediately. "The board has agreed to Lucas, it's just a formality. Sign it, Anna, don't make things difficult." Anna looked at the pen they pushed toward her, remembering her grandfather's words to her. "When the time comes, trust your instincts, you are stronger than you think." Taking a deep breath, she stood up, pushing the documents away. "No," she said firmly. The whole family was surprised. "What?" Richard asked, his face pale. "I won't sign," Anna insisted. "Grandfather chose me for a reason, I will not betray him." Lucas laughed, his voice mocking. "You think you can run the company? You will destroy it in a few months. You are not capable. You have never been capable." But this time, Anna did not let their words shake her. She stood straight, holding her ground. Her life, from the busy days of working part-time and studying non-stop, had forged her into a steadfast person. Anna knew her family wouldn't accept her easily, but she also knew that, after years of being looked down upon, this was her moment to stand up for herself. This was her fight, and she was ready to fight. Anna stood there, clearly feeling the cold gazes from her mother and father, and Lucas's mocking smile. The entire conference room seemed heavier with tension. Lucas, as usual, broke the silence with an arrogant voice. "You think that with just a few years of working as an engineer in the R&D department you can lead an entire corporation? Is this a joke?" Anna clenched her fists. Those words no longer hurt as much as before, but they still brought back painful memories. She remembered the days when she had to work 2 jobs at the same time to pay for her tuition, while Lucas comfortably enjoyed the luxury of his family. The family vacations where she was left out, the disdainful looks when she dared to speak about her dreams or abilities. But now, she was no longer the girl who was afraid of rejection. Her grandfather's words echoed in her mind. "You are stronger than you think, Anna. When the time comes, believe in yourself." "I don't need your approval, Lucas," Anna replied, her voice quiet but determined. She turned to look at her parents. "My grandfather didn't choose me because I was a favored son, but because I understand the true value of this company. I won't sign anything to give up what he entrusted to me." Her mother, Elizabeth, sighed in frustration. "Anna, you don't understand. We're trying to protect you from ruining the family fortune. Lucas is a better fit. He knows how to manage money and has a good degree. But in her eyes, Anna could still see a hint of panic. She hadn't expected this daughter who had always been overlooked to dare to go against her family. Anna stepped back, feeling the strength surge within her. I've spent my whole life proving myself. I don't need to do that to you anymore. I'll keep my promise to my grandfather, whether you believe me or not. Her eyes fell on Lucas, who was lacking his usual confidence. And you should prepare yourself, Lucas. The time when you considered me weak is over. The conference room fell silent after Anna's bold statement. No one said anything, but their eyes were filled with anger, confusion, and helplessness. Anna could feel the turmoil in each of their minds. She knew that her refusal to sign the transfer was not only a shock, but also a challenge to the power they had always held. But Anna did not let the feeling of pressure slow her down. She had fought all her life to gain this confidence, and she would not let them take it away. That's ridiculous, Lucas laughed dryly, breaking the silence. You think being stubborn is enough to run a company? You don't even know anything about management, about business. This is not your R&D lab, Anna. Anna did not answer right away. Instead, she kept her eyes fixed on Lucas, sensing the weakness behind her brother's confident facade. Lucas, she said slowly, her voice low but powerful, I don't need my sister or my parents to teach me the value of this company. My grandfather taught me enough to understand that Montgomery Innovations is about more than money. It's about innovation, about groundbreaking ideas, and about the people who work hard to make those ideas happen. Something you'll never understand. Lucas choked, her gaze shifting from mockery to tension. Her father, Richard, slammed the table so hard that it startled everyone. Anna, he roared, his face red. You don't know what you're doing. This affects not just you but the whole family. Lucas is the only one who can keep the company going. You're letting your emotions dictate your decisions. I'm not letting my emotions dictate my decisions, Anna replied, her voice calm but sharp. I'm doing the right thing. My grandfather trusts me, and I won't let anyone, not even you, jeopardize that. In that tense moment, the door to the conference room opened. James Peterson, the family's longtime lawyer, walked in with a woman in a smart grey suit. Her eyes sharp but somehow warm. Sorry I'm late, James said, placing his briefcase on the table. I think this is a good time to clear up a few things. James, this is none of your business, Richard interrupted. But James only nodded slightly at Anna before speaking. Actually, it is. I was tasked by Edward to look after Anna's interests, and I was also asked to introduce Catherine Lee, the advisor he chose to guide Anna when she became CEO. Advisor? Lucas asked, laughing. You need an army to run the company? And you don't, Catherine replied, her voice calm but commanding. Because you'll never run it. The arrival of Catherine and James was a blow to Anna's family's confidence. In the bewildered eyes of her parents and Lucas, Anna felt a glimmer of hope, not only because she had people on her side, but because her grandfather's careful preparation had helped her realize that this was not her fight alone. This was a message from him. Be strong and believe in your worth. Anna looked straight at her father, feeling for the first time that she was no longer the underdog in this fight. Grandfather didn't just leave me shares, she said, her voice firm. He left me a belief and a plan, and I won't let him down. The conference room fell into a heavy silence after Anna's statement. Each word she spoke, each determined look in her eyes, seemed to be tearing down the pieces of power that her parents and Lucas had built around her. Catherine Lee, with her sharp appearance and commanding demeanor, walked up to Anna and handed her a thick file. Let's see what Mr. Edward left behind, Catherine said, her voice low but convincing. Anna opened the file, each page revealing the secrets that her parents and Lucas had always kept hidden. These documents not only exposed Lucas's mismanagement, but also showed that her parents had misused company funds for many years. This document, Catherine explained, is evidence that your parents have transferred millions of dollars to personal accounts. This is not only an ethical violation, but also an economic crime. Richard's face was pale, his hands shaking. This is a misunderstanding, he shouted, but his voice had no strength left. This document could have been forged. Not at all, James Peterson interrupted, placing a USB drive on the table. This is a backup copy of the company's internal accounting system. which Mr. Edward requested to be checked periodically. Everything is clearly documented. Lucas tried to keep his composure, but the sly look in his eyes told the truth. He knew they were out of luck. Catherine continued. And here, she said, pulling out a recording. This is proof that Lucas tried to sell the company's proprietary technology to a major competitor. Anna looked at Lucas, her eyes filled with disappointment and pain. You ruined the company, and you dare say I'm incompetent? She asked, her voice choked but strong. You don't understand, Lucas shouted. I've always been his favorite, even though I've done nothing of substance. I've done everything to prove myself worthy. Anna took a deep breath, steadying herself. Lucas, you don't understand that worthiness doesn't come from being loved or having a degree. It comes from how you work and how you treat the people around you. And what you've done only proves that Grandpa was right not to choose you. Anna's words left Lucas speechless. She turned to her parents, who now bowed their heads in shame. I've always tried to get your approval, she said, her voice soft but full of emotion. But now, I realize that I don't need your approval. The only thing I need is to keep my promise to Grandpa and do the right thing for the company. James pressed on. Edward has predicted all of this. He knows that there will be attempts to undermine his decision, and he has prepared all the evidence to protect Anna. He glanced at Richard's family. I advise you to give up, before things get worse. Anna straightened, her eyes determined. You have two choices, she said. Either resign and let me do my job, or let the whole truth be known. I don't think you want to see your names in the papers. Her parents and Lucas sat silent, no longer able to offer any excuses. Anna's eyes were no longer fearful, no longer begging for recognition. For the first time in her life, she was in control. So, what do we do next? Anna asked. A faint but confident smile on her face. As her parents and Lucas left the conference room, their faces bowed, the tension in the room finally eased. Anna sat back for a moment, feeling relief wash over her. The confrontation had not been easy, but she knew she had won her first major victory. Catherine sat down next to her, her eyes full of encouragement. You did a great job, Anna, Catherine said. This is just the beginning. Now we need to focus on actually running the company. Anna nodded, but deep down she was still a little nervous. Montgomery Innovations was not just a big tech company, it was Edward's life's work. She knew what he expected of her. I don't want to just protect the company from my family, Anna said, her voice firm. I want to grow it. I want to make it something my grandfather would be proud of. James Peterson, the family's loyal lawyer, also stayed behind to discuss the next steps. Edward has done a great job of preparing everything, he said, flipping through the documents in his briefcase. In addition to the evidence of your family's wrongdoing, he has also left you detailed notes on how he wants the company to be run in the future. Anna looked at the thick document before her, feeling both pressured and grateful. I don't know if I can live up to all these expectations, she confessed, her eyes slightly lowered. You don't have to do it alone, Catherine replied, her voice filled with encouragement. Edward has chosen me to guide you not only because I am a successful CEO, but also because I was once in your position, a young person, untrusted, having to prove myself. Catherine's words reassured Anna. She remembered the long nights in the lab, the weekends working at a coffee shop to pay for her studies. All these efforts have shaped her into a strong and determined person. She cannot let her current fears get her down. In the following weeks, Anna began to immerse herself in her work. With the support of Catherine and James, she not only grasped the technical aspects, but also learned how to manage finances, build a team, and set strategic directions for the company. The board of directors, who had been hesitant about her abilities, gradually changed their views when they saw her relentless efforts. They saw in her the image of Mr. Edward, a leader with vision and determination. But the challenges did not only come from within the company. Anna's family, despite having made concessions, continued to quietly find ways to make things difficult. They hired lawyers to file a lawsuit, accusing Anna of not being qualified to hold the position of CEO. Rumors began to spread in the business world, causing many partners and investors to be skeptical about the future of Montgomery Innovations. However, Anna did not let those things discourage her. They can say whatever they want, she told Catherine during a strategy meeting. But what we do, the actual results, will be the best answer. With that determination, Anna focused on her first project as CEO, developing a line of smart medical devices that she had been working on for years in R&D. It was not only a technological breakthrough, but also a testament to her abilities, both to the company and to herself. One morning as she walked into Edward's office, now her own, Anna touched the oak desk he had used. "I will not let you down, Grandpa," she whispered. She knew that every step she took carried his legacy, and now she was determined to continue that story, with her own ability and dedication. Anna's first months as CEO were not easy. Although she had initially proven her abilities to the board, pressure from both inside and outside the company continued to mount. Her family, despite failing to overthrow her inheritance, secretly sought to discredit her. Key partners were bombarded with rumors of Anna's lack of experience and incompetence in leadership, which nearly led to the cancellation of several important contracts. Turf Development hired the latest upheavals in the southern continent. However, Anna did not allow these challenges to discourage her. "Actions speak louder than words," she told Catherine in a key meeting, and her actions began to prove it. The smart medical device project, developed from an idea Anna had nurtured during her years in R&D, was officially launched. This was not only a technological step forward, but also an opportunity for her to assert her abilities to both the company and the market. Catherine acted as an indispensable mentor, supporting Anna not only in strategy, but also in building relationships with partners and internal teams. Staff meetings became opportunities for Anna to convey her vision and build trust. She listened to the opinions of departments, from engineers to administrative staff, something that previous management, especially Lucas, had never done. "Anna was the first person who made me feel like my voice was being heard," a senior engineer shared in an internal meeting. The comment resonated throughout the company, creating a positive atmosphere that Montgomery Innovations had long lacked. Gradually, the results of the smart medical device project began to appear. The prototype not only received high praise from doctors and hospitals, but also attracted attention from the media and investors. "Not only are we changing healthcare," Anna said at her first press conference, "but we are also affirming that Montgomery Innovations is a place where ideas become reality." She stood at the podium, more confident than ever. The feeling that she was on the right track, that she deserved this position, filled her mind. Anna knew this was just the beginning, but it was a promising beginning. The initial success of the smart medical device project not only helped Montgomery Innovations regain the trust of its partners, but also marked a turning point in Anna's leadership career. However, when things began to improve, her family, who had announced their withdrawal, reappeared, this time with a new agenda. During an important board meeting, the door to the conference room suddenly opened. Richard Taylor, Elizabeth and Lucas, led by a group of lawyers, walked in with calculating looks on their faces. "We have evidence that Edward was not of sound mind when he executed the will," Richard announced, swinging a stack of documents onto the table. "This nullifies Anna's inheritance and puts us back in charge." The conference room held its breath. These harsh accusations were not only a personal attack, but also a direct threat to the stability of the company. Anna sat silently for a moment, trying to contain her rising emotions. She looked at her father, then at Lucas, the people who had always sought to take away everything she had achieved. But this time, she was no longer the naive girl who was afraid of their imposition. Catherine stood up, her eyes sharp. "Interesting," she said, her voice even but authoritative. "We also have a document to present." She nodded to James Peterson, who immediately turned on the large screen in the conference room. A video began to play, an image of Edward appearing, looking healthier and more alert than ever. "If you are trying to claim that I am not sane," his voice boomed from the screen, "remember that I predicted this." The conference room fell silent as the video continued to play. In it, Edward carefully explained his reasons for choosing Anna while pointing out her family's wrongdoings. He ended with a warning: "If anyone tries to go against this decision, the truth will come out." Richard and Lucas paled, speechless. Anna stood up, her eyes no longer wavering. "You had the opportunity to do the right thing, but you chose to sabotage it. Now, you will all be held accountable." She turned to the board. "I believe it is time to stop all unnecessary interference and focus on the development of the company." After Edward's video ended, the atmosphere in the conference room seemed to freeze. Richard's face was pale, Elizabeth's face was full of panic, and Lucas's face was bowed, not daring to meet anyone's eyes. What they had been trying to hide all this time had been exposed before the entire board of directors. Anna, still standing firmly in her position, felt a surge of power spread through her body. This was not only her victory, but also a victory for truth and justice. "Your Honor," Catherine spoke up, breaking the silence. "This video not only proves that Edward was completely sane when he made his will, but also that he foresaw all the sabotage attempts from Anna's family." James Peterson continued, "We also have additional documents, including financial reports and detailed records of Richard and Elizabeth's misuse of company assets. If necessary, these documents will be sent to the investigating agency." He looked straight at Richard, his eyes stern. "I advise you to give up before things get out of hand." Richard tried to keep his composure, but his voice was clearly shaking. "We just want to protect the family. Montgomery Innovations is a legacy for the whole family, not just one person." Anna stepped forward, her eyes determined. "Families are meant to protect and build each other up, not destroy and usurp," she said, her voice low but powerful. "What you have done only shows that you care more about your own interests than your grandfather's legacy, and that stops there." Lucas, who had been silent all along, suddenly stood up. "You don't understand, Anna," he shouted. "He has always loved you more than me, and that's not fair. I have to do everything to prove that I am worthy." Anna looked at Lucas, not with anger for the first time, but with deep sadness. "Lucas, you don't have to prove anything to me. You just have to be a good person, someone who puts the common good before your own. But instead you choose to sabotage." She sighed, her eyes softening. "You still have a chance to change, but it's not about this company anymore." Richard, seeing that things had reached a dead end, leaned back in his chair, his voice choking. "Okay," he said, almost in a whisper. "We'll sign the resignation papers." Elizabeth burst into tears, but no one in the room comforted her. All eyes were on Anna now, the one they knew had won, not only because she had Edward's backing, but because she was truly worthy. When the meeting ended, Richard, Elizabeth and Lucas walked out of the room in silence, leaving their last efforts behind. Anna stood watching them, relieved but also filled with emotion. She knew that she had to carry on not only Edward's legacy, but also the pain of her own family turning into enemies. Catherine came to her side, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You did the right thing, Anna," Catherine said, "and now it's time for you to move on." Anna nodded, her eyes shining with renewed determination. "This company is more than just my responsibility," she said, her voice firm. "This is my chance to do something truly meaningful, for my grandfather, for my employees, and for myself." As Catherine and James left, Anna turned back to Edward's desk. She touched the polished oak, feeling her resolve. Though the journey was challenging, she knew that she would continue with the integrity and vision her grandfather had left behind. After her family left, Anna stood silently in the empty conference room for a few minutes. The battle seemed over, but she knew the real challenges were just beginning. Montgomery Innovations was now in her hands, along with Edward's trust and legacy. "He chose me," she thought, touching the key-shaped pendant. "And I will not let him down." In the following weeks, Anna threw herself into her work with an uncompromising spirit. She and her leadership team focused on perfecting the Smart Medical Device project, a product that she believed would not only transform the medical industry but also strongly affirm Montgomery Innovations in the market. Anna's enthusiasm and dedication quickly spread, inspiring the employees. "She is not only a leader," said a young engineer, "but someone who truly understands us and the importance of this work." With each step, Anna felt her role more clearly. She is not only running a company, but also continuing Edward's legacy through innovation, integrity, and belief in the ability to change the world. The months that followed were a period of great transformation for Montgomery Innovations. Under Anna's leadership, the Smart Medical Device project, her first product as CEO, achieved impressive results. The device not only improved patient care, but also opened up a promising new direction for the company. Articles raved about the product, investors began to return, and Montgomery Innovations' reputation grew. Anna worked tirelessly every day, but she did not feel burned out. On the contrary, she felt joy and meaning in her work. She regularly visited departments, met with engineers and employees, and listened to their stories about the challenges they faced. For the first time in years, I felt like the leadership really cared about us, said one longtime employee. Anna was more than just a CEO, she was a partner. Still, Anna knew that success lay not just in delivering great products but in building a company culture based on trust and unity. She began holding open meetings where every employee could pitch ideas or voice concerns. One evening, sitting in her office looking over the notes from one such meeting, Anna smiled. This is what Grandpa wanted, she thought. A company that was not just about profit, but about people. Her family, now living in another city, no longer interfered with her work. Lucas, after a final confrontation, quietly withdrew. Anna heard that he was trying his hand at a project of his own, but she didn't care. She realized that, instead of harboring resentment or revenge, she needed to focus on doing the right thing. And that freed her from the burdens of the past. Lucas said. One day, Anna drove by the coffee shop where she had worked in college and decided to stop in. Sally, her former manager, was still there, greeting her with a warm hug. Anna, Taylor, Sally exclaimed. I saw you in the paper. CEO of Montgomery Innovations. Who would have thought? You've helped me more than you think, Anna replied, her eyes filled with gratitude. You gave me a flexible schedule, and you encouraged me when I thought I couldn't go on. That story sparked an idea for Anna. Just a few weeks later, Montgomery Innovations announced a scholarship for working STEM students to help pay for their education. The program was named the Edward Montgomery Scholarship, as a way to honor her grandfather and his legacy. When the program received its first letter from a student thanking her for her support, Anna felt her heart swell with joy. She knew her job was not just to run a company or develop a product, it was to make a real difference in the lives of others. He was right, she thought, touching the key pendant around her neck. Success is not about preserving a legacy, it's about continuing it, in a better, more meaningful way. That evening, sitting in her office, Anna looked up at the photo of Edward and her at her engineering graduation. I did it, she whispered, but she knew the journey was still on, and she was ready, not just to lead Montgomery Innovations, but to make it a symbol of integrity, innovation, and kindness. So she showed up. From Anna's story, we learn that in life, the most important thing is to keep faith in yourself and persistently pursue your goals, even when faced with skepticism or harsh challenges. We need to be brave enough to defend our core values, be willing to fight for what is right, and not let the hurt of others discourage us. True success is not just about achieving power or wealth, but the ability to make a positive difference in society, building an environment based on compassion, integrity, and innovative vision. Please share your opinion about this story and the lessons you learned. Don't forget to follow the channel to discover more meaningful stories about life, family, and overcoming challenges. Each of your opinions will be a source of inspiration for the next stories.